Good morning. Today we're leaving the Atacama Desert in Chile and heading to the Bolivian salt flats in Uyuni. We got picked up at 5:45 in the van and we're now just waiting at the Bolivian border. We're getting served a breakfast outside the van. It's freezing here. The sun just came up, so it's slowly warming up. So we're gonna have a quick bite to eat before we actually cross the border. Luckily, we're the first van here, so hopefully that makes it so that we're the first people through. I guess we're just waiting right now until this place opens up, and then we can drive through and then head that way. It is pretty frosty here, not gonna lie. It's like the landscape's pretty bare, but there's these incredible mountains, and there's actually a lot of snow around here. Okay, we just left the Chilean border, which was kind of a weird. You drove through that building. They stamp your passport, and you need a PDI form that you get at the border when you cross into Chile that you have to keep with you. So if you don't have that or you lose it, you kind of forget, or that you'll have a problem. Then we kind of drove through a random, like no man's land, and arrived at the Bolivian border. So now this is where we get into the trucks and transfer all our stuff from the vans into these trucks that are here. And another spot where the wind is just ripping through here. And it's kind of a funny spot. Like we're in the middle of nowhere, and then there's just this random border crossing. So, and it's been freezing. So right now we're transferring all of our stuff from the van that we got transferred here into one of these trucks. I think we throw all of our stuff on top and then hop in. Though it's been freezing here. So hopefully we go somewhere a lot warmer. So this guy's just transporting everything on top and all the bags, and then kind of strapping them down. Quite a few tours are picking people up here. Like these Jeeps keep rolling in, grabbing people, and then loading up and heading out. So that's the area where we had to scan the QR code and verify our passports with the QR code. And then you have to come to this building, which is where you pay, and then you get another ticket. So there's a lot of process for this one. So this is our ride for the next 3 days. All the bags packed on top, and then 5 people inside. We actually made our first stop is at Laguna Blanca, which is a lake which is borax filled, or there's a high amount of borax in it randomly, which I believe is used for cleaning products. It's iced over right now, and our guide mentioned that we asked him if it's always this cold and windy. He said no, in the summer it's actually really nice and warm. We just happen to be insanely windy. If this would be like kite flying world championship should be here. But the backdrop is amazing. Like there's this huge mountains right behind us. So the first day today, we have an 8-hour driving with a bunch of stops. So we're supposed to stop at Laguna Verde, but it's supposed to be the same as here. And the lake is frozen. So instead, we're going to skip it and go to the hot springs, which would be quite more enjoyable than this wind and the cold right now. We're fixing the air pressure to make it a little bit better in order to drive right now. It's pretty bumpy, and the roads are kind of random. Like here's one right now. Definitely not paved. Sometimes super bumpy, sometimes actually pretty smooth. All right, our next stop is the Dali Desert. The wind is insane. This is just like, I don't know, to be honest, what it's also like the sand is supposed to move with it. It's crazy. But it's just a vast open area that, like, the surrounding is amazing with the mountains. This is just a quick, it was supposed to be a 10-minute stop, but I think it's going to be like a 2-minute, or because this is it. All right, our next stop is at the pools. We just happened to see a toucan just chilling by the water here. So we thought we'd come over and see if we can get kind of a bit of a closer shot, similar to a llama. And we've been able to see quite a few on the way here. There's like a bunch just like grazing. And then there's a bunch way over there actually on that cliff top. They don't seem to mind the wind, and they're just, they're wild, and they're all over the place here. I don't know if they're eating that grass or if they're finding something else, but they always just seem to graze. So it's 5 bolivaros to get changed in the change room and 5 to go in the pool, so 10 total. So we just came up to a vacuna that's just chilling by the pool. And then this is the pool that we're gonna go for a little dip in. And we were told it was 20 degrees. So it's gonna get changed in here and then I'll go for a little dip. So one thing is you have to have your bathing suit with you in your carry-on. If you put it in your big bag that gets put on top of the truck and strapped down, they won't unstrap everything to let you get it. So you have to bring it with you or you can't go in. The temperature, we'll see what, it's actually pretty warm. I was surprised. I thought it'd be a little cooler. It's definitely lukewarm, way warmer than the air though. So it's gonna get changed and then I'll hop in. I was able just to get changed in the little hut there that had change rooms that just had curtains that pull across, and then got in, and it's actually really warm. This is really nice. I thought it'd be cooler. Great backdrop. And you can just, there's 2 other people here. I'm the only one on the tour that wanted to go jump in. Everyone thought it was going to be really cold, but super windy still, but a cool little spot. The bass are definitely warmer than the air, but it was like a warm bath water. So it was not bad being in there. Like there's guys that have been in there for longer than we got here and they haven't left yet. You may also notice that I'm probably breathing a lot harder. We are high in elevation and it is noticeable, just the labored breathing. So it's kind of part of the deal here. The next is we're at the same spot. We're having lunch. So everyone was just waiting for me and then we go and have lunch together at the place where we bought the tickets. So just gonna gear up to go back into the wind. This is literally just a little spot, quick stop off the main road, and quite a few tours stop here. Apparently this is more of a VIP pool for some reason. I think it's because you have to pay. We stopped at one, or we drove by one earlier, but I don't know if you have to pay there or not. So we're just going up here, and then this is the spot where we get our lunch. Okay, we just finished eating lunch and we're gonna jump in the truck and head to the next stop. Guide just gave us a bunch of cocoa leaves, which is you're supposed to kind of chew on for a couple minutes and then tuck up in the top of your gums to help with the altitude. Okay, we just landed at the Geysers. Pushing the wind, it's crazy. This is the highest altitude stop on the trip. And we had this spot to ourselves. Actually, one truck just rolled through, but then it left. So here's like, this one is like smoking like crazy. You can see down in there that the water is boiling. And then it would be a great place for the drone, but the drone would just get blown away, I think. So this is a 15-minute stop before we move on to the next. You can see that this is like, almost like mud boiling in these pools. The wind, woo, just crazy. The sand is just blasting. All right, we just arrived at the last stop of the day, which is Laguna Colorada. So I was able to get out of the wind here, and there's like a shelter and a bathroom. So you can see there's a whole bunch of different, well, there's actually 3 different types of flamingos that come here. So they can eat the different types of microalgae that there's growing in the lake, which causes it to turn pink. There's also a bunch of vacunas that have much more hair. I'll try to go back down there and try to get a better view. But quite a cool spot. And this lake is huge. And there's all these flocks of flamingos all over the place out there. So the wind here is like even crazier for some reason. And it even makes it hard to breathe just walking over. If we were walking from the side, and it would like suck the air right out of your breath, and it was making it really hard to actually breathe in. So you had to face the wind in order to breathe. So we just came up from like where the bathrooms were. Trying to, there's a big flock of flamingos, hoping that we could get a better view of. What I didn't realize is that I thought flamingos were places where it's really warm, but not the case. So you can get right up to these vacunas. They have these tags on their ears. So they must be, or I don't know if that's a decoration, but tag. That one over there has like a whole bunch. It must be a decoration. And they're gobbling up that kind of the moss that's covering the rocks. Yeah, these ones definitely have way more fur on them. And have an endless supply of the moss to chew up. So just give you a quick tour of the Toyota Land Cruiser that we're using. Three rows, obviously the driver and a taller person in the front. The middle bench has lots of room. And then the third bench, a little bit tighter, just room for 2. Everything gets loaded up on top. And this thing has been, the roads have been brutal, but this thing has been cruising through, no problems whatsoever. Okay, we just drove about 2 hours from the last, where the Laguna Colorado, and arrived at a random town in the middle of nowhere, and it's a pretty remote place. And this is the hotel we're staying at, so pretty low key. This is it. We managed to get 2 beds. We also managed to get a heater, which we didn't think we would have. And there's electricity, and apparently there's even Wi-Fi, which is like a huge plus. So we have dinner later on tonight, breakfast in the morning, and then we'll go out and check out the town a little later on. The town we're staying in for the night is Villimar. So it has a population of 339 people. There's a random hotel here. It's a pretty sparse place. And not a whole lot going on here. It's kind of it's really random in the middle of nowhere. But to give anyone some tips for this tour, I made all the first time in Bolivia rookie mistakes. I left all my warm stuff in my bag that got put on top of the truck, so I couldn't get it. Gloves, I had a hat, but my gloves were, and my warm clothes. Also, all my snacks were in the bag up there, and I couldn't get them. So there's not too many spots where you can get snacks. Actually, there's no places. You just get breakfast, lunch, and then dinner. This is the hotel we're staying at for the night, and we were hoping to go to the main store to get a couple snacks, but it's closed. And I don't think there's anything else here that we can buy something to eat or have a drink at. So welcome to Villimar. That's it for day 1 of the tour. Stay tuned for day 2 and day 3 on our next video. Thanks for watching.